And we are off to the February Siebel Friday of 2024. Yeah, I'm glad you can make it. And today we have quite some interesting topics on our plate. So of course we talk about Siebel 24.2, which has just been released a few days ago. And I've prepared something called Generative AI. Not sure if you heard about this, but it's a cool thing I want to show you to integrate it with Siebel. Oracle sent out communication about Redwood UX for Siebel, so that's interesting. We'll look into that. And maybe we have some time for DevPops, but I'm not sure given the density of all these topics here. So welcome to those who just joined. So let me just start. So as usual, we kick off with the Siebel update summary for the latest update. And that is, oh, sorry, here we go. So it's a short update because there's no official feature announced for 24.2. There is a new view, however, which deserves attention, and also support for SASL Scram authentication. Not sure if I pronounced that correctly, but that is only for the Kafka integration, so don't get too excited. Tomcat stays on 9.082. If you're already on 23.12, there's no change for Tomcat. So when you run a monthly update, I talk a lot about this monthly updates. I do every monthly update at least twice or maybe more often. And so the usual procedure is, as you know, to run the MDE and then maybe include the post-install database setup, which is mandatory. And the mandatory part includes, sorry, let me just get some laser pointer here. So the mandatory part includes schema changes, also seed data import, and sometimes there's a manifest, OpenUI manifest data that's imported. Depends on what version you're coming from, because the bigger the gap, the more things are going to be updated or inserted. So that's a post-install database setup, which is mandatory, as you all know. And we have this nice little report, the HTML report. We have a big log file, or actually a great bunch of log files to check if everything goes okay. And then there's the repository upgrade. And I've just opened the zip file for the repository upgrade, which you find in your Siebel server bin folder. So that's for 24.2. And it started all in 20.3. So almost 4 years ago, Oracle started shipping these optional packages, which include schema, manifest, and seed data, but also, because that's the namesake, repository upgrades, which is zip files. So if you look into any of these folders, you will find most probably a zip file there, schema files, manifest, or seed files. Depends on the version, of course. And if you've never done a repository upgrade, like one customer who I just kicked it off today, it starts at 20.3 and it's 24.2. So that's 4 years worth of innovation that is pushed into your into that integration workspace and into your database. So it's actually runs a few hours. So also you would like to know, as being the responsible administrator that we are, you'd like to know, okay, did it work? did everything work fine? And there's also a report. There's a report on repository upgrade, which looks the same as the post-install database report. There's a log file. And now it's time for the drum roll. Since 24.2, funny enough, if you run the post-install database update and the repository upgrade, you get a new view. Actually, the tables are created by the post-install database update, and the artifacts for the new view, the business components, applets, etc., are delivered as a repository upgrade. So if you run both, you can go to the administration application screen, and there's a new view waiting for the Siebel administrator called monthly updates. And beginning with 24.2, it will hold, I guess so, any future process as well of post-install database setup and repository upgrade. And you have the process logs as a set of child records for each. So another way of keeping track of all this, and now it's nicely aggregated in the Siebel database. So it's a very nice touch. And that's something you can observe when you run the update to 24.2. Okay. Any comments on this? Any questions? As usual, microphones are open, chat is open. Okay. Right, no questions. Cool. So let's check the other feature for 24.2, or it's not a feature really, it's just more or less added to the bookshelf guide, that you can now establish the authentication for the Kafka integration, which was introduced in 23.6, the event publishing and subscription. That now supports the SASL scram. So I will not pronounce it out, the salted challenge, etc. And that is a combination of two standard mechanisms that Kafka supports, I think, for a long time. And now basically it's documented / supported if you use Kafka with the Siebel integration. Okay. Anything to add about that? No. Okay.
This is Raj. Can I have the business case for what this authentication is? Is it like an Azure or SAML or?
No, it's actually a more, in layman's terms, I'm not an expert on this, but it's a more secure way of authenticating the communication between the Siebel and the Kafka server when the messages are sent back and forth.
Oh,
yeah,
gotcha.
So you can use plain. The most unsecure, obviously, is plain, which is plain text password. Then you can use TLS. There's a bunch of others supported, and this is now basically also documented with Siebel, and you can use it. Okay. Yeah, thanks. All right. So yeah, I know what you're all here for. So let's talk about the big elephant in the server room or in the cloud data center for the last year or more than a year is generative AI. And Oracle has recently published or made generally available the generative AI services on OCI. And I would like to go into a little bit of a demo, but before I want to give you some background how I developed these demos, because there is an OCI AI integration that comes with Siebel in 22.10. And what you will see is not the standard integration. I have worked on integrating through the OCI REST API, so making proper HTTPS requests to the Oracle server, getting a response back. Whereas the standard integration delivered by Oracle uses the Java SDK. So I wanted just to know if you can use the REST API and turns out you can, as Siebel is perfectly able of sending these requests out. And the one thing that is difficult or posed a challenge for me was to to create a signature for each and every request, which Oracle requires. So each HTTP request that you make must have a unique signature in the authorization header. And I wrote a Java business service to implement in Java the algorithm to calculate that signature. So I have a Java Business Service which I can call to get the signature, and then I can put the signature in the header and I can make the request. So there's a two-step process basically. Yeah, okay, so let me just click that link here. Does it work? Yeah, there you go. So that takes me to postman.com, and that is a good starting point, which is actually the Oracle Devs Postman workspace, I think it's called. And so this is where Oracle publishes example collections for the OCI REST API. As you can see, the generative AI service has recently been added here. It's still labeled as pre-GA, but it's actually GA. And you can see the actions here. You can see generate text, for example. And you can see the post request that you can make. So, so there you can get a glimpse into the structure that you have to send, the body. You can also fork it and pass on your credentials for an OCI tenancy, and then you can start testing it in Postman. So this were my first steps when I worked with not only the generative AI service, but also the language API, which is another AI service, or the vision API. What's really cool about OCI is that literally everything you do in OCI in the console, creating instances, I don't know, destroying your OKE cluster, all of that stuff can be done through an API call. And many of them are in this list, and all of them, of course, documented in the official documentation. So very good starting point if you want to start not only integrating Siebel, but literally any application with OCI on the basis of the REST API. Okay, so I was using that, and I was also using this here, which is the Oracle Cloud Generative AI Playground. So if you have access to an OCI tenancy, and you have at the time of this this Siebel Friday, the only region where it's supported is US Midwest or Chicago. I guess that Oracle will roll it out globally, but it's currently only in the Chicago region, so you must have that registered with your tenancy. And then in the playground, or let me show you how I get there. So you go to the menu, go to Analytics and AI, and you see in the services, Generative AI is here. And you go to the playground, and you can start picking your models. And Oracle currently has 3 types of models for text generation, text summarization, and embedding. There's also details about these models you can pop up here. And so let's start. Let's pick Llama from Meta, and let's ask it about describe the benefits of integrating Siebel CRM with generative AI. So I'm literally sending a text, of course, and have it generate a response. And yeah, there it is, generating away. And it talks about, yeah, it gives me actually some use cases, some nice marketing spiel about what are the benefits of integrating Siebel with generative AI. And one of them is improved product recommendations, for example. Oh, that's a nice one. So that doesn't stop. It's very chatty. Okay, now it has stopped. So I guess you all have by now, over the last year or so, played with similar generative AIs, ChatGPT, you name it. And that works as you would expect it. Based on the input, it generates text. Okay, so now let's see how you can integrate the AI services into Siebel. And now finally for the demo. Let me go to my Siebel playground. And here's a demo I've done recently. So it's an older demo and it's not generative AI. It's just language AI, just it's the sentiment analysis. So you see that for each service request, there's a little icon with the sentiment of the text that's in the summary. So there's a problem described here, or there's a dispute or something like that. And if I click, okay, there's so many people joining. If I click that button here that I have, the custom button, then a request is sent to Oracle, to OCI, and the analysis comes back and is displayed along with the record. So that's how I choose to display the information. That's a little bit of OpenUI JavaScript, of course, happening here. Okay, so that's a classic AI service, now classic language service. And now let's see how we can use the generative AI. So my first example is in opportunities. I implemented it for opportunities. And let me pick, I have filtered some. So this is the Siebel sample database. And let me just pick one opportunity, and again, pressing the button, it will send that selected record and now to the to the summarized text endpoint of the generative AI. So it's summarizing the opportunity. So I've engineered the prompt a little bit to ask it for an executive summary, which it provides here. I also ask it to add at least 3 next steps. So based on the data, it identifies steps. So identify key contacts, assess the sales stage. Of course, at this point, it's generated text. Like it makes this up based on the input data. But it shows already that it can be quite helpful if you have some useful data, you can have a useful summary and maybe even extract some action steps from that. Okay, so far so good. Any comments or questions?
Hi, Alex. This is Bharatwaj. I just had a question. So all of these models that are currently supported by OCI at this point in time are all open models. Is that correct?
Yes, I would say so. This is basically the Cohere models and the Llama model from
The
Meta.
Llama models.
Yeah.
Right. So these seem like open models. So let's say, for example, in an enterprise, we would have specific information for context-aware responses. For example,
Yeah.
if we have existing data within the database and based on the overall database that we have within the enterprise, if we want to summarize all that context, is it possible to send all of that context and then get the summarization or the response based on that?
Well, there sure are limits.
I don't have any questions on that, but
sorry?
I don't see Praveen on, but I'll double check with Melissa. Melissa, I saw your sign off to Praveen. So does that mean that the stuff that we were working on Wednesday afternoon and yesterday
that's not related
is all
to us?
completed?
Somebody's on a call. Okay, let me. Okay, sorry for that. So yeah, to answer that question, you can do 2 things. You can create your own models based on the pre-trained models. You can fine-tune them, create your own endpoint on OCI.
Okay.
So it would not be a public model. So it's trained with your data. So it's specifically trained, for example, on life sciences data or whatnot. And also to pass in data, of course, there's limits. You can't pass in, let's say, a million characters, megabytes of characters at one go. So,
yeah.
But within this range, of course, you can you can use either the pre-trained models, which are of course very generic, and you can fine-tune your own model and create your own endpoints. That's what the name is in OCI.
Got it. Got it. So we could again point it to specific models that we will have, private models, and it has to be through OCI alone, right? It's not like we could directly use REST endpoints and then directly hit any open service as well.
I'm just sorry, Alex.
Yeah.
Maybe because these are like managed services which are served by OCI, by Oracle, like Cohere and Llama 2. So Llama 2 is open source model. It means that you can, get it in Hugging Face or somewhere else, and you can deploy it on your own infrastructure if you want to. So let's say if you want to keep it like, if you don't want to send the data over the internet through secure channel, if you're not on OCI, for example, right, then you need to, and you're not comfortable with that, then you can deploy Llama 2 on your infrastructure. But I think here is like a proprietary model. So I don't know, like if you can go and sort of agree with Cohere to kind of buy the model and then install it on your devices. But yeah, here it's like a managed service, right? So basically the model is running on OCI, and in order for you to be able to consume the service in easy way, Oracle, made this nice REST service for you and like keep it all within the tenancies that you have.
Got it. With the guardrails. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah,
sure.
Thank you, Alex.
Okay, so that was the that was text summarization, by the way, using I've used the Cohere models. It's not a preference, it's just the default models. So you can also do something that I demonstrate here. Let me just, so you can pass in any field literally. So I choose the description field. Let's say provide, you can talk to the AI. So I have a prefix AI, which is interpreted, and this is sent to as a prompt to along with the data. So let's say provide at least 5 action steps. Let's see if it works. And let me just save that. So this will be part of the data that I've sent. It's always working on the selected record. That's a demo. And so you can give the user a way to influence the output. So here you see, okay, it went overboard. So at least 5 is fine. And the text is just truncated because that's a limit of the pre-trained model as well. So, okay, and of course you can stay businesslike and serious. You can also do some funny stuff like have it generate a poem, or let's say add at least 5 emojis. Something silly, really. Huh? So you can be very silly, but I don't want to get too silly here. Let's see what it does with that. Okay, it went overboard. Yeah, and very much overboard, as I see. So it's as you can see, it depends on the prompt that you send what you get. Okay, let's stop here. The next use case that I have is a solution. So I picked some random Siebel entities that I find useful. So one is solutions, which you all might know. It's the knowledge base, and in the Siebel sample database, there's a lot of sample records in there. So it's just one reason to use the sample database. And again, it's working on the selected record. So it depends which record you select. And as you would expect, it sends the record data, but this time with a predefined prompt of enhancing the text. So making it more understandable and also translating it to German. That's the text generation. So let's see what happens. Doesn't always translate it, so it's a bit lazy, but let's see what we get here. Okay, yeah, it's nice. So it has an enhanced text, rephrased, if you will, in English. And I asked it to add a German translation, and there it is. So that is hard-coded. So there's no prompt I can edit. It's in part of the code. But of course, you can imagine to put that on a, let's say, a drop-down with languages that the user can select from or something like that. So translation is, or enhancing text, making text more understandable for customers, translating text, and of course the obvious text generation in emails, etc., or proposals. That's where it really shines, right? Okay, how about this use case? Anything to add? Yeah.
Alex, I have one question, Alex.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So whenever you are sending the information to OCA AI, does that get stored in the AI system also, or the informations, or they don't store it?
So according, not too sure about this one, but Juris is prepping up. So my information is that it's not stored.
Okay.
Yeah, but Juris, you have some more information about this?
Well, I have to check OCI policy, but let's say usually if you go with Azure or directly OpenAI, so they will tell you that we keep it like for technical purposes for 30 days, like to debug and stuff. But you can also request them this like zero retention policy or something, so that you kind of explicitly say to them that I don't want it to be stored like at all, and then they will not store it. But I think with Oracle, maybe we need to check it out. So I can just maybe if Alex presents something, I can, you know,
okay,
Google a little bit. Yeah.
Thanks, Juris. Yeah.
So this is Chris speaking.
Yeah, hi,
What I found out in the default, Oracle is very, very closed. So they do not store, they do not train anything. So it's very, very closed.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But it's not bulletproof, from my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so a real, let's say, bulletproof closed solution would be take an open source model like Llama.
No, I haven't validated each paragraph
okay.
in all these texts about data security. But if you use your own custom model, it's your model, and this will not go in any other model. And if you use the pre-trained, they don't store the prompts and things like that. Mm-hmm. So it's a very low footprint.
Okay, yeah, that is what that is what I heard too. I have no proof, but I think somewhere on the Oracle policy pages there it must be. Yeah. Okay, so that's the text generation use case, and then the other use case, the third use case, is embedding, which is very interesting. And I worked on this demo, implemented it on product data. Again, you can implement it on anything in Siebel. And so what's this about is, let me just, so this time I'm taking, just for performance purposes, I'm taking the 20 records that you see on the list applet. And let me just find a page which is useful. Okay. Yeah, for example, here I have, sorry. I have here a predefined query. So this is DSL products. So of course, nobody uses DSL anymore, but DSL products in a sample database. And if you select one product, like the residential DSL super surfer speed package, then click the button, it will send all the 20 records to generative AI, and it will have it calculate the so-called vectors. And we'll see those vectors in a second. And then I'm using those vectors to calculate the distance or the next best or similar, the most similar records, and display them. So better explained when I click the button. So I selected the residential DSL super surfer speed package, and the most similar, with a similarity of 0.88, and 1 is exactly the same, is that surfer speed package. So different package for the same product. And then there are 5 others with a lower similarity. So they're sorted basically. And you can see those vectors that it calculates. So that's like popping the hood of a large language model, how it operates. For each record, it calculated 1,000 vector points. It's an array. Each vector is an array of 1,000. You call them points, I think, or could call them coordinates, if you will. Yeah. So and then you can do a calculation. And I used an algorithm called cosine similarity to calculate the similarity to the selected record. So down here you see the selected record with a similarity of 1. So that's matching itself, and every other record has a cosine similarity, which I can then sort and display the product. So that is, of course, cool to use it for things like recommendations or semantic search even. And so the semantic search is something I've, let me go back and let me find that page where I have a group of 20 very different records. Give me a moment. Yeah, here it is. So let's say I'm interested in buying a new car. So, and I'm literally using that field. And if it detects text in that field, it uses it, calculates the vector of that text and compares it to the vectors of the records. And now it gives me, well, the new car loan product based on that vector similarity with the text I entered. So I call that semantic search. Of course, you could say, okay, that's, you entered car and it finds the car. Yeah, so that's easy. What if I enter something like, I am hungry? Oh, so I'm hungry, it's getting late, and let's see what it recommends. How about chicken salad? Yeah. So nowhere in the data is hungry. The word is not in the data, but there's some food items. And so as a large language model, it doesn't know, but it knows that when I enter terms like hungry, etc., it's associated with food. So the food items come first.
Yeah, BlackBerry also sounds very delicious, right? So
yeah. Okay, and again, you can go a little bit silly and say, I am a boomer. Let's see what you get. Yeah, boomers get Blackberries, right? So, yeah, there's that. Let's turn it around. I'm a millennial. That's the silly part. You stayed as long as you could. And millennials get a new car loan, right? And
what about Gen Z, Alex?
what about Gen Z? I am, how do you write that? I am Gen Z.
Yeah, just that. Yeah, Z. I think it's just like Z.
Yeah,
okay.
Gen Z. Okay.
Okay.
Well, they get Blackberries too. Yeah, because
okay.
Blackberries are cool again. Yeah. Well, we're getting very silly here, but as you can see, the semantic search is like the vector embeddings work fine. When, of course, the more data you have, the better. The bigger your input set is of vectors, and even with those 20 records I have here, we're very randomly selected. Yeah, it picked a salad when I enter I'm hungry, so it's very interesting, at least. To say, let's say it's interesting, and some food for thought here, how to use that with your Siebel CRM or with any other system. Okay, I see some, yeah, Juris, thanks for posting that in the chat, the data handling policy. And there's another is that a question from Juris? Does the generative AI service retain the
No, that's just a reply from this article.
Okay, so you generated it.
No, I just copied it. Sorry. Sorry, I'm not modern enough. I just copied.
Yeah, so you could have it generated by the LLM. Okay, so yeah, that's a glimpse into how the generative AI service on Oracle Cloud can be integrated with Siebel. I call it a feasibility study. It's not a perfect integration. So what are your thoughts? What are your use cases? Have you experimented already?
Alex, one question. This is Ipsit here.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. So is there a product roadmap for rolling out these features to making it standard features for Siebel? Stuff like, as a sales rep, if I have to close an opportunity, I have to do 5 different tasks. Can those be automated just by saving a note like you did? Close this opportunity, and it kind of does those 5 tasks for me behind the scene.
Well, that's a question for Oracle, probably, if it is on the roadmap for integration. So if you use a custom integration like this one, you can probably implement it.
Okay.
But I don't know about Oracle's roadmap for that. So maybe paging the Oracle people in the room to chime in.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know the roadmap for this product. It's out of my scope.
Okay. Hi, Carrie, and thank you.
Hi.
Yeah, it's as we have seen, Oracle has been integrating OCI AI very early on with 22.10, the language and the text transcription, the speech transcription, if you remember that one. So that's pre-integrated already. So based on this, I think it would be at least easy for Oracle to extend on that. So, but again, as nobody here knows the exact roadmap for the product. Yeah.
Again, I think I will speculate, but as far as I understand, that Oracle is making the different, AI-enabled agents or like assistants or copilots, and but I think they would like work across several applications, basically kind of say a panel or a button, which like Alex implemented here, and for these agents, the Siebel database would be just like a source, right, of data, so that they can, get through the REST services or update certain records and stuff like that. But I don't think that Oracle will do something, very, very specific for Siebel as such. So I think kind of on other products, they are doing a lot of innovations. And I think, Alex, when you went to this application limited events, Richard showed some of this like voice-enabled assistants for the call centers.
Yes.
And again, since for these AI agents or AI copilots, kind of the core is actually the model that you're using and like a set of prompts which are built into those, then kind of embedding into either Siebel UI or into other CRM UI, it's just like a matter of integration. I don't know, like on the UI level or through services.
Yeah. Yeah, and as you mentioned it, Oracle is currently in beta for the generative AI agent. That's the name they're using, which is like the bot-like experience where you talk to it, in a series of responses and requests. So now it's just send some data, get something back, but Oracle is close to releasing the generative AI agent service, which is what I think what you were referring to. And yeah, and Siebel could be very well a data source for that kind of agent. Yeah.
I think what I see is with the Oracle OCI AI services, it's very easy to boost the productivity on the user side in Siebel. With a bunch of small steps integrated via REST in the interface, and you will boost productivity.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what I see too. It's like it's very easy to integrate because it's literally an HTTP request that you send out of Siebel, and everybody who has done it before with other systems knows how to do that. And then process the response, of course, and that is can be done on the Siebel server, or as I do it in a browser. And you can take small steps. You can integrate one business component, so to speak, or one view or one applet with a service, then expand it across the application, and you start using another service like vision or document understanding. Use generative AI, of course. Yeah, and as you go, then you can take small steps and expand that across the application and customer base or the user base. Okay, so that's it for now from my side. Yeah.
Alex Bharadwaj here again. I remember you showed the first sentiment analysis on opportunities, I believe, or
service
was it somewhere
requests.
else?
Yeah.
Oh, it was on service request. And the output that we were looking at, the smileys, essentially, were they output of the models, or is it more
no,
like...
actually, the model returns a text like neutral or positive,
Okay.
and I just map it to an emoji.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it's in the code. Yeah, so it's literally mapped.
This makes fun to work with, in fact.
Yeah, so you put some color on the screen and some lightweight stuff that. Yeah, I think I have it enabled for activities too, where it makes a little bit more sense. It depends, of course, on the data, and also the classic models. The language model is not generative AI, but it has a model, so you can also train your own models on the data, so it's more accurate than the pre-trained model. So here,
Got it.
yeah, let me just find. Yeah, that's so here on activities, works on any Siebel entity. So here I'm taking the description, and you can see, so some is very positive, like your request is being processed. But there's a fraud case. Sorry, as soon as I click, goes away. There's a fraud case, and that is like bad. And so it really takes the text and sends back, this is positive, this sounds positive, this sounds negative. It's a very simple service, but of course you can also add a lot of value to Siebel already.
Right. The reason I asked that is we usually have CTI sometimes integrated with Genesis, sometimes with Amazon Connect, or etc. And with voice, there is going to be even more better opportunity for us to do sentiment analysis. So I was just wondering if that and this can be correlated in some way.
Yeah, of course. You can very much use the AI service to transcribe the voice recording. So
yeah,
there are even real-time services that give you, let's say, real-time text, like on YouTube. And then you can pass the text on through the sentiment analysis, and like which is something that Oracle has shown in the European roadshows in a call center scenario. So the voice is transcribed in almost real time, and it's immediately analyzed for sentiment. So you see emojis or whatever icons that the customer is angry or not or happy.
Got it.
Yeah. So I found personally that when you have a little bit of, let's say, prototype demos like this one, they're very humble, of course, they're not really production ready, but it opens the door. And as a partner or systems integrator, I would invest in that. And then when you talk about it with the customer, or like we do now, you immediately come up with more and more use cases. So Siebel CRM is so, let's say, it's literally built for each other. Yeah, it's like made for each other, AI and CRM.
Got it.
So we have a lot of use cases there. Once you start thinking about them, for each and every Siebel entity, there is a bunch of use cases when you take a few minutes to think about it.
Totally agree. I mean, this is amazing, in fact, Alex. Thank you so much for sharing these use cases that you've literally built for demos.
Yeah, okay. You're always a pleasure. And it's actually fun building those and being silly with generative AI. So I'm very silly. Sorry about that. Okay, and Angelos, Angelos talks about the Oracle roadshows. The next one, or one of the next one, is there's Oracle CloudWorld on 14th of March in London. So if you're in the UK, check out the Oracle website, or maybe Angelos, you can paste a link. And on the day before, there's a product council for Siebel CRM product council, as Angelos tells us in the chat. So yeah, the Siebel Hub will be there. So if you want to say hello in person, yes, make sure you're in London on the 13th and 14th. Okay, so contact Angelos. Thanks, Angelos, for putting this in here. And so let me check my notes. So yeah, one more thing I wanted to talk about is recently, John Bedford put on the Siebel CRM blog. It's actually not John's blog. Well, it's John's blog, but Venkat, the product manager for Siebel Product Management, announced the rollout or a sneak peek of Redwood UX for Siebel CRM. I think, Angelos, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this will be demonstrated or discussed in March in London. And also there's on this page, I'm pasting the link in the chat so you have it. On this page, there's also a few details about what to expect about Oracle UX for Redwood UX for Siebel, sorry. And there's a sign up for the Redwood UX beta program if you're interested. So that's, of course, very recommended if you're interested in that part of Siebel innovation. It's something to really celebrate, because it's been 10 years that we got a theme, right? Aurora. Well, we got Synergy in 2015. But a big UX change was the Aurora theme. And now Oracle announces, somewhere soon, maybe sooner or later this year, I'm speculating, a new UX option for Siebel CRM. I'm excited. I hope you are too. Okay. And any comments, questions on that? Yeah, you're good? Okay, then let me do a shameless plug on the Siebel Hub again. So you're all friends of the Siebel Hub, I guess, by now, and a link in the chat for you to our Siebel CRM training page. And there's always something to update on this page. And we have 3 new trainings, which is the Siebel New Features Workshop, which is the continuation of our Siebel 23 workshop. And we decided not to call it Siebel 24 and then 25. So we have to rename everything every year. So we decided to split it in 3 parts and call it New Features for architects and admins, for developers, and application integrators. So comprehensive training now, depending on the role of the student, rather than pushing everything in front of you. And of course, it's more convenient, more reasonably priced, since it's only a portion of the original volume. And also quite recently, we have, where is it? Here, down below. we have published the Siebel CRM reports training ready for Siebel 24 for Oracle Analytics Publisher, and of course for BI Publisher as well, if you still use that. So a modernized Siebel CRM reports training is also available as video training on the Siebel Hub.
Yeah, Alex, is that OA using 7.0 or is it using 6.4 or something else?
The course is based on the latest, which is 7.0.
Cool.
It's backward compatible down to BI Publisher 12.
Because we just installed 7.0 on our unit.
Yes, so it's based on OAP 7.0. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. And let me briefly go to. And some of you might have noticed through newsletters you got or communication you got that we've started to deliver live online learning on a regular basis. So if you're not happy with watching a recorded video, which might be a little bit outdated, a few weeks outdated at most, kidding. We have live online learning sessions. I plan to get into a regular cadence of twice a week. That is Tuesday and Thursday, same time as the Siebel Friday, so easy to remember. And the one that's currently ongoing, it's a hop-on model, so you can purchase the entire 8 sessions, or you can just hop on individual sessions. So there's an event website. I will publish the link. So there you can book the complete learning pass, which gives you access to recordings as well. So if you missed any session, there's a recording, there's PDF materials, and there are the individual sessions that you can also purchase. They're 90 minutes with myself and the students. Imagine the sheer information density of students asking questions and me trying to answer them on several topics. And the topics are built on that new features curriculum, but we can arrange, if you give me the necessary input early in advance, we can arrange for a custom curriculum. And well, as you can see, reasonably priced for the value that you get. And also the recording of this session is available as usual on the Siebel Hub YouTube channel, where you find all the Siebel Friday recordings, all the Siebel CRM update summaries, and also the generative AI demos, which I have posted and will post here, among a lot of other stuff. So that also goes to your chat window, so you can copy the link. Okay, so yeah, that's it from me. Any final remarks, comments? Okay, thanks, Alexei. Right, so exciting times ahead. Then thank you very much for joining today on the Siebel Friday. Wish you all the best, and stay safe, stay excellent, and see you next Siebel Friday. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks.
Thanks, Alex.
See you.
Bye.